and welcome back to Peak Flicks Math with Mrs. Dennis. I'm so excited to see you today. We're going to have an amazing day of teaching and learning. So let's get ready for another exciting day as we dig deep into our monster math today. So let's look at our objective for today. Our objective is I can decompose once to subtract, including 3-digit numbers with zeros in the tens or ones place. So remember, our objective every day is our goal that we want to achieve by the end of our lesson. So today, our job is to decompose once to subtract, including 3-digit numbers with a zero in the tens place or in the ones place. And I know what you're thinking. Well, what does this word decompose mean? Well, decompose is just a strategy that we're going to use today to help us solve a subtraction problem where you notice that the number in the top place value is smaller than in the bottom, and so we're going to have to use a different place to help us. But don't worry, we'll get into that and learn more as we go along. So, as you know, in the start of every lesson, we build our fact fluency. Absolutely. Because when we are fluent in our math facts, we become better mathematicians because that means we know them right off the top of our head. And if you notice, and Miss Dennis is going to move herself over just a bit. If you notice for today, we're going to work on more doubles, which means when we have the same number and we either add it or subtract them. But today, what do you think we'll be focusing on? Absolutely. If our objective is to subtract, then of course we're going to build fluency in subtraction facts. So let's start off with some simple subtraction. And Miss Dennis is going to move herself over so that way you can see the problem. So can we subtract their eyes? So let's start with something simple. Let's look at our first monsters. We have 2 eyes, and we're going to subtract or take away 1 eye. So let's try that. If we have 2 eyes and we take away 1 of the eyes, how many eyes do we have left? Absolutely. There will be 1 eye left. Now let's try the next one. If we have 4 eyes and we take away 2 eyes, how many eyes do we have left? Did you say 2? Absolutely. We will have 2 eyes left because 4 minus 2 is 2. Now let's try the next one. If we have 6 eyes, and let's just double check to make sure it's 6. 1, 2, 3. Are you counting with me? 4, 5, 6. We have 6 eyes in the first monster, and we're taking away 1, 2, 3 eyes. So let's see. If I have 6 eyes and I take away 1, 2, 3 eyes, how many eyes do we have left? 1, 2, 3 eyes. You are absolutely right. And notice our doubles, because if we do the opposite, 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. You got it. And 3 plus 3 is 6. So if we notice, when we subtract our doubles, it's the opposite as if we would add them. You are so smart. So now let's try some more subtraction doubles. Can you subtract their eyes? Let's try the first monster. We have 2 eyes. 2 eyes. Take away 2 eyes. Uh-oh, how many eyes do we have left? Excellent. We have no more eyes left. So that means 0 eyes. Let's try the next one. If we have, let's count together. 1, I can't hear you. 2, 3, 4. We have 4 eyes. And we're taking away or subtracting 1, 2, 3, 4 eyes. Let's try with our fingers. If we have 4 eyes and we're taking away 1, 2, 3, 4 eyes, how many eyes do we have left? We have 0 eyes. Now let's try the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eyes. And we're taking away or subtracting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eyes. So 5, take away 5 is 1. No, silly. It's 0. Absolutely. So 5, take away 5 is 0 eyes. We can't even see. But we got to keep going. So let's time to open our eyes. So now, let's try to practice on our own. Well, Miss Dennis, you know the drill. I'm going to give you 15 seconds, and I want you to try subtracting these doubles. Are you ready? And remember, when we use doubles, if 10 plus 10 is 20, then 20 minus 10 is 10. Isn't subtracting amazing? Let's try. Ready? 22 minus 11. 15 seconds. Go. Remember our doubles. You got it. Okay, time's up. Let's see now. 22 minus 11. Well, I know that 2 minus 1 is 1. So I'm guessing that 22 minus 11 is 11. Great job. I hope you got 11. Give yourselves a round of applause and a pat on the back. Now, let's try another one. 44 minus 22. Are you ready? 15 seconds. Remember, you're thinking, what number plus this gives you this? Okay, time's up. What did you get? Great job. 44 minus 22 equals 22, because we know that when we do doubles, if we were to add the answer plus 22, it'll give us 44. Oh, the timer's already ready. Let's go on to our next one. Here we go. 88 minus 44. Are you ready? 15 seconds. You got this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Here we go. 88 minus 44. Well, I know if I do 8, 8, and I take away 4. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. I will get 4. So that means that 88 minus 44, because I know that they are double, is 44. Give yourself a round of applause. Now, let's try 3-digit minus 3 digits. Ready? 222 minus 11. 111, excuse me. Let's see. 15 seconds. Remember our doubles. 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, time's up. Here we go. 222 minus 111. Well, I know that 2 take away 1 is 1. You got it. So that means 222 minus 111 is 111. Absolutely. Because I know that if you add 111 plus 111, you get 222. Great job, scholars. You are so smart. Math is very fun. I love doing math. Isn't this so much fun? So now, let's continue on with our objective for today. Remember, our objective is our goal. Absolutely. It's the goal that we want to accomplish by the end of our lesson. So let's look at our objective. It says, I can decompose once to subtract, including 3-digit numbers with zeros in the tens or the ones place. And remember that when you decompose, it is just a strategy that we use to solve a subtraction problem. So let's look at our strategy of the day for today. We're going to remember a subtraction poem. So if you look here, it says when there is more at the top, no need to stop. And when there's more on the floor, then we have to go next door and get 10 more. And if the number's the same, then zero's the game. And this is a great strategy to help us with our subtraction problems. So I want you to say it with me. Are you ready? I can't hear you. Are you ready? Okay, great. Here we go. More on the top. No need to stop. You got it. If there's more on the floor, then go next door and get 10 more. And if the number is the same, zero's the game. And this is a strategy that will help us when we are doing our subtraction. So let's practice this strategy together. And Miss Dennis is just going to move herself over so that way we can get a closer look of our problem today. Okay, here we go. So let's look at our strategy of the day. If there is more on top, so we have 57 minus 32. So whenever we subtract, just like in addition, you always start at the ones place. So let's look at 7 minus 2. Well, according to our rules, if there's more on top, then no need to stop. You got it. And so I know that 7 is bigger than 2. So if I do 7 and I take away 2, I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Absolutely. So 7 minus 2 is 5. And then if I do 5 minus 3, well, 5, take away 1, 2, 3, and I get 2. So 57 minus 32 is 25. Now, let's look at 52 minus 38. So it says if there's more on top, no need to stop. Now, if I look at my ones place, I'm noticing that 2 minus 8, well, 2 is not bigger than 8, so there's not more on top. So let me go to the next part of my strategy to see what I should do next. If there's more on the floor, then I have to go next door. So I'm noticing that there is more next door. 8 is bigger than 2. So I would have to go next door to the 5, and I take away 10. So then this now becomes 4, and the 2 now becomes 12 because I had to take 10 and put it next door. So I know that 10 plus 2 is 12. So now I can go back to the first part of my rule. If there's more on top, then no need to stop. So now I have 12 minus 8. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so I know 12 minus 8 is 4. And now I have 4 minus 3. Well, if I have 4 and I'm taking away 3 more, 1, 2, 3, then I have 1 left. And so I know that 52 minus 38 is 14. Now, let's look at this one. 57 minus 37. Well, more on top, no need to stop. Well, if I look at my ones place, it's not really more on top because 7 and 7 are the same number. So let me try the next one. If there's more on the floor, go next door. Well, we know there's not more on the floor in the ones place because they're the same number. So let's try the last one. Numbers the same. I think this might apply to us. Numbers the same. Zero's the game. So 7. And if I take away 7, well, I remember before when we were doing doubles that if you subtract the same number, you get 0. Absolutely. So 7 minus 7 is 0. And then 5, and I'm taking away 3, is 2. So 57 minus 37 is 20. Now we have a 3-digit number. And this kind of goes back to, I think, our objective, right? Where we have to decompose to kind of subtract. So let's see. I have 160 minus 38. So I think my objective was telling me how to subtract when there's zeros inside the ones or the tens place. So this looks like there's a 0 in the ones place. So if there's more on the floor, then we have to go next door. So I have 0 minus 8 because I know that anytime I add or subtract, I always start with the ones place. Absolutely, you gotta beat me to it. So 0 minus 8. Well, if I have 0, can I take away 8? Absolutely not. That sounds ridiculous. You can't have 0 from 8. So I would have to go next door. And so now I'm going to take away from the 6, and I'm going to now make that a 5 because I'm taking away a group of 10. And so now I have 10 minus 8. Well, if I have 10 and I take away 8, let's try this together with our fingers. Ready? Hold up your hands. 10. And I take away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, how many fingers do I have left? 2. So 10 minus 8 is 2. And then I have 5 minus 3, which I know is 2. And then 1 minus 0 is 1. Because if I have 1 and if I don't take away anything, I still have 1. And so 160 minus 38 is 122. Now, let's try with our word problem. And Miss Dennis is going to move herself down here in front of our monster. Sorry, Mr. Monster. Let's try with our word problem. And remember our objective. I can decompose once to subtract, including 3-digit numbers with zeros in the tens or the ones place. So, let's read our word problem. There are 605 ants in a colony. Whoa, that's a lot of ants. And 238 ants leave the colony. How many ants are there now? Well, let's think about our strategies when we solve a word problem. I know that if I first have to find the numbers. So, there are 605 ants. Oh, okay, so the first number is 605 in a colony, and there are 238 ants, and they leave the colony. So 605 are there, and 238 leave, and they want to know how many are there now. So that sounds like it's subtracting, because if there's a group of ants, and there's some of the ants that leave, I'm thinking that you have to subtract because there are ants that are leaving the colony. So I'm going to do 609 ants minus 238 ants. So now, I have to do my subtraction. Remember, when we subtract, we always start in the ones place. Absolutely. So are you ready, mathematicians? So I have 9 minus 8. Well, according to my poem, if there's more on top, no need to Stop. You got it. So I know that 9 is bigger than 8. So I don't need to stop. I do 9 minus 8, which is 1. Then I have to go to the next place value. Well, I have 0 minus 3. Well, if it says if there's more on the floor, I need to go next door. You got it. And so 0 minus 3. Well, if I had to look, 3 is bigger than 0. So I know I have to go next door. And I'm going to take away from the 6. And this then becomes 5 because I have to take away a group of 10, right? So if I have 6 and I take away a group of 10, I will have 5. And then I add that 10 to the 0. So I now have 10 minus 3. So 10 minus 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 minus 3 is 7, and 5 minus 2 is... Wait, that doesn't sound right. If I have 5 and I minus 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh boy, I should get 3. And that also tells me that I should check my work. And so now let's try this. So now, if I go back to my problem, well, we know, right? 9 minus 8 is 1. And then it becomes, then we have to go to the 0. We know we can't take away 0 from 3, so we have to borrow from the 6. That then becomes 5. That becomes 10. And now we know, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 371. So there are 371 ants that are left in the colony. Great job, scholars. Now it's your turn. And it's very important that you always go back and check your work to make sure that you subtracted to the right answer. So now Miss Dennis wants you to try. And I want you to notice how we checked our work, because now I want you to make sure you go back and you check your work. So now I want you to try a word problem. And remember our objective. I can decompose once to subtract, including 3-digit numbers with zeros in the tens or the ones place. So let's look at our problem. Mrs. Hernandez, she is driving from New York to Florida, and the total distance is 607 kilometers. She has 472 kilometers left to drive. How many kilometers has she driven so far? So we first have to think, well, we know how to solve a word problem. What are our numbers? So we have 607, and I noticed there's 472. And now that I identified my two numbers, I need to know, are they asking me to add or subtract? Well, Mrs. Hernandez has 472 kilometers left to drive. So that right there is telling me that if she has a total amount and she has already driven 472 kilometers, I need to find out, well, what did she drive so far? So I'm going to set up my problem where I have 607 minus 472. I want you now to pause the video and come back as soon as you have solved this problem. Remember our poem. If there's more on top, no need to stop. If there's more on the floor, go next door and take 10 more. And if the number is the same, then zero's the game. Absolutely. And so I want you to pause and I want you to solve this problem in your notebook and make sure you come back, because Miss Dennis will reveal the answer at the end. Hi, scholars, and welcome back. So, let's review our problem. Remember our objective. I can decompose once to subtract, including 3-digit numbers in the zeros or in the tens place. In the ones place or in the tens place. Excuse me. So remember our problem. Mrs. Hernandez is driving from New York to Florida. The total distance is 607 kilometers. She has 472 kilometers left to drive. How many kilometers has she driven so far? And so we know when we set up our problem before we took our pause, we had 607 minus 472. And if we solve our problem, we know that we had 7 minus 2. We leave that alone because there's more on top. So 7 minus 2, 2. And we count up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 minus 2 is 5. We know we can't take away 0 from 7, so we had to take it away next door and borrow from the 6. This becomes 5, and now this becomes 10. And our total would be 135 kilometers. So far, Mrs. Hernandez drove 135 kilometers. Boy, does she have a long way to go. Now, I want you to grab your notebooks and whiteboards and pause this video as you solve these problems in your notebook. And remember, as we saw, it's always important that you go back and check your work to make sure that your answer is A-OK. So pause the video and solve these problems. Remember to come back because Ms. Dennis will reveal the answer so you can check your work to make sure that your answers and my answers are the same. Okay, scholars, welcome back. I hope you paused this video for a while so that way you had time to solve the problems. And now, let's look at the answers so we can check our work. How'd you do? Great job. I'm so proud of you. You are so smart. Every day we're becoming better mathematicians. And so I now want you to remember to go on Zern and Reflex Math to practice your math facts every single day. Because when we go on Zern and when we go use Reflex, we become better mathematicians. And as we continue to end our lesson for today, Miss Dennis just wants to say how proud I am of you. This was an amazing lesson learning all about subtraction. And I will see you tomorrow as we learn more exciting things about math. And let's do our end of our lesson dance. Go math, 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 go math. I'll see you tomorrow, scholars. Having a great day. Bye.